Testing. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Test. 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 Okay, good morning everyone on YouTube and everybody on Podbean. It's interesting to see that a lot of the most regular attendees prefer Podbean. Maybe it's a better platform for this after all. Right. So first of all, there are some announcements. So I thought I'd start a couple of minutes earlier than I normally do, just to run through it all. So the things that are happening are, there's another two, restrictions, assuming restrictions are not going to stop us from doing it. What we're going to do is have two more in-person sessions between now and Christmas. There's Thursday the 17th at 11 a.m. at the Mansion, morning Maxine. And there's Saturday the 19th at 11:15 at the Mansion. So, I sent around links through all of the usual social media channels and email for you to book into those. So let me know if you get any difficulty booking in or anything like that. Then what I'm going to do next year, I start off, morning Jane, morning Matt. Next year I'm going to start off the year with something that I did, I think about 18 months ago, which is I ran a set of classes that I called the gratitude sessions. Morning Erica, morning Colin. And what that consisted of was a group of students who are kind of largely ones that have been attending my training for a number of years. I ran through these 8 sessions covering areas like gratitude and appreciation and forgiveness and compassion and so on, and things like wisdom and happiness. And I thought, as things have been so difficult in 2020, that and bearing in mind now the new brand for what I'm doing is loving awareness, I thought that would be a great way to kick it off. So I'll let you know about the details for that, and there's another couple of little changes, but nothing astronomical. I'm still going to carry on teaching online in the same way, largely at the same times. In fact, I don't intend to change any of the times. And all of that will be revealed over the course of the next couple of weeks. So, if you're a Saturday morning session person, you'll still be able to attend. Right, so, Maxine says it was the best course ever. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I got such good feedback from it, and I really, really enjoyed it. As if it's bearing in mind, assuming I can teach whatever I want, which largely I can, because at the end of the day, I teach what comes out of here. There's no actual planning process going, and this is just, brain to paper usually, or brain to mouth, which we're going to cover today, actually, because we're demystifying the mind. Then it's really nice to be able to teach something that makes you feel good and makes everybody else feel good. Okay, so more information to come on all of that. Today is Demystifying the Mind Part 2. Last week, what we did was I explained how the belief system and how thoughts are generated. Essentially, there's a part of the brain called the interpreter, which we've managed to isolate, that interprets our reality. And what it does is it tries to explain it. And what it wants is for everything to be consistent with the way it was. It doesn't want to discover, the world's not like I thought it was, I've been doing it wrong forever, or my belief system's unhelpful. But for most people in the modern world, that is a fact. Their suffering is largely because of what they believe, and what they believe is largely because of what they've been taught, and so it goes round. But stepping back from that, so there's the thoughts. They are interpretations of reality, and it's thoughts generated by the subconscious mind. So you've got thoughts, and you become aware. Thanks, Matt. You become aware of those thoughts. Yeah. So last week, I one of the things I mentioned about thought is that there's precious little scientific study into thought as a thing. Let's sit down and understand thought. No, very little. It's there, but when you think about the totality of psychology and the effect that thought has, thought's utterly fundamental to our minds, and yet there isn't really even a satisfactory definition of it. So I'm defining it. It's messages from the subconscious. And messages to who? This is the interesting thing. So what are emotions? Messages from the subconscious. That's what they are. Messages to who? Who are they messages to? And this is the area where psychology fails completely, totally. All of the wisdom traditions, well, the Eastern wisdom traditions, the meditative ones, all come to be comfortable with the reality of an element of all of our experiences. It's self-evident to everybody, and they refer to it as the witness. Well, that's the word that the New Agey people tend to use. And what the witness is, I think it's by far the best explanation of our single awareness, because what it's doing is it is witnessing. So there's something about the word witness that implies that there's very little action. The purpose of a witness is just to witness. So, for example, if you witness somebody's signature, all you do is go and watch it. You don't say, no, shouldn't do that curly bit there, and remember to underline it. No, that's not your signature, Joe. You just turn up, they sign it, and off you go. And in that respect, our single awareness. Now, there's a lot of study in perception, huge amount. Yeah. Billions have been spent on understanding human perception at a lot of different levels, deep in the responses in the brain, common behavioral responses, cognitive psychology, neuroscience, and psychology itself is all into perception, but they're not into who is it that is perceiving. So now we don't have to worry about it. This is the thing. You don't have to get into the whys and wherefores and nitty-gritty detail, and is it this part of the brain, or is there such a thing as free will? Forget all of that. Just accept the absolute reality that there's an element of your awareness that is witnessing your experience, and that your subconscious, the mind, is all subconscious. This is another. The idea of a conscious mind is just ridiculous. There's no conscious mind. There's a conscious awareness. And if thoughts and emotions are the mind, and what else can they be? You're aware of the thoughts and emotions. Morning, Dave. So what we then have is a process. We've got a mental model of the world, the schema, mental model. Everything in reality that we're aware of, deep down in the brain, actually it's distributed everywhere, is a model of our reality. So when we come out the door, we expect to see the tree, we expect to see the pavement. If we came out the door and it wasn't there, we'd be shocked to the core. So there's an explanation of the reality, of the geographical reality. And then you've got the same thing with social relations and everything else. And so there's this model of reality distributed in the brain, and it's not designed to change. And then we have experiences, and those experiences will either contradict that model, or they won't. If they don't align with the model, then there's a lot of processing to be done, because the subconscious, the purpose of which, according to Kahneman, who's Nobel laureate, psychologist, economist, and so on, the purpose of the subconscious is to update the mental model. That's why it's a mental model updater. And so when you walk out of your front door and instead of seeing the pavement there's a beach, right, your mental model needs to be updated pretty darn quickly. And that's a difficult thing. And imagine you did walk out of the door and there was a beach, or as a cliff or something, or there was an alleyway instead of a road. Yeah, imagine the emotional response, and imagine your thoughts. Yeah, so that's when the mental model and the external reality are far away from each other. So there's the mental model, there's the mind, which is constantly updating the mental model, and the mind is sending you messages, thoughts and emotions. As well as that, this awareness, which is a single awareness, and really it's only got two modes. I mean, obviously there's things like sleep and so on, but largely when we're going through the day, it's focused and unfocused. Yeah. So there's task. The neuroscientists call this task positive mode, default mode. Default mode is unfocused, or you're trying to remember something, or you're in a dream, or your mind's wandering, or you're sitting calmly and quietly without focusing on anything. And then there's task positive mode. So this is the switch. This is the mindfulness switch. Mindfulness is all about our focus moving from this unfocused to focused, default mode to task positive mode. So there's the mental model, there's the mind trying to make sense of everything, sending your one awareness signals as thoughts and emotions. And the purpose of that is to influence your focus more than anything else. And then most action is actually a far lower level than that. It's things like instinct, habit. They're the biggies. Yeah, we just do things instinctually. We do them intuitively. So the mental model says now it's time for lunch. The mental model says now it's time to go to work. Now it's time to broadcast. Demystifying the Mind Part 2. And this combination of habit and instinct and intuition, just a behavioural thing, that's largely what we're doing. And our single awareness is either focusing or not focusing. And then, of course, also there's an element of what is it focusing on. And largely that's habit and instinct and intuition as well. So what meditation is retraining our single awareness to focus on that which is more beneficial to us. And the capacity to focus away from all of the unhelpful responses in the subconscious and in the body is huge, because then we can regulate them, and then we can choose when to address anything that's unsatisfactory, but we're unable to hide from it because we've been connected to the body. So that's quite a lot, but what I'll do today is meditations about focus. So this is all the this is if there is a conscious mind, it's an awareness. And if it has choice, its only choice is to focus. So if you want to get yourselves comfortable, focus on the sound of the bell moving through time. And any other sounds that arise. Whatever arises externally, whatever you can hear, allow yourself to become aware of it, that sound moving through time. And it doesn't matter what thoughts there are, what emotions there are. All we're aware of is the passage of time through sound. Notice the breath. Mind wanders. Return your attention to the breath. Repeat. And now you can either bring to your attention, to the breath in the nostrils or the breath in the belly. And then we're noticing the movement of the breath through time. And if your mind wanders, gently return your attention to the breath. And notice what happens. What happens is the mind, which is subconscious, brings to your attention thoughts and emotions for whatever's in the mental model at the moment that's unsatisfactory and hasn't been resolved. It wants you to resolve it. So it's a bit like having a puppy. We need to acknowledge the puppy, but we cannot do its bidding. So we can't feed her every time she wants to be fed. So if you wish, when thoughts arise, you just say in your mind, thinking, thinking. So you're noticing the breath. Thoughts arise, or your mind wanders. Say in your mind, thinking, thinking. Back to the breath again. And repeat. Just practice this for the next couple of minutes. Just noticing the mind wandering. Just noticing the breath and noticing the thoughts, largely. And then there's a handful of other phenomena that might draw our attention. And we're acknowledging the thoughts. We're not ignoring them. We're acknowledging them by repeating thinking in the mind. And then returning our attention to the breath. Cool breath in, warm breath out. What we're going to do is continue the process of noticing the breath wherever it's comfortable for you. What I'm going to do is sound the bell just so that the progress through time becomes obvious. There's the belly rising and falling. The air entering and leaving the nostrils. And the sound of the bell moving through time. So stay focused on the breath. So what's happening in this meditation is there's a space for that process. The process where thoughts and emotions arise from the subconscious and enter your awareness. So you're not ignoring them, you're acknowledging them by saying thinking in your mind. If the thoughts are powerful, intense, repetitive, persistent, it's because there's an inconsistency between what your mental model believes is happiness and what you're experiencing, whether that experience is internal or external. So there is an I believe I will be happy when belief. And that is not being satisfied. And so then there's powerful, compelling, persistent, repetitive thoughts as the subconscious mind tries to bring it to your attention so you can fix it. So using the puppy example, I will be happy when I get fed. I will be happy when I go for a walk. And of course she needs to be fed and she needs to go for a walk, but not now. So all we're doing is acknowledging puppy, rubbing her behind the ears, rubbing her chest, and then she's okay for a while. It's not being ignored, but we're managing the behaviour, the jumping up at our leg, the barking. Because we're then able to choose, we're not driven. Our mind isn't full of thoughts like the mind would be full of yapping. So in this meditation, the following the breath meditation, what we're doing is we're witnessing that witness process. Thoughts arise in the mind. Usually they're about something that's unsatisfactory. The mind and the subconscious is driven by I will be happy when. It's brought to your attention, or it draws your attention away. So when the thoughts come to your attention, you can hear them, chatter, chatter, chatter. Or if the thoughts have taken your attention, there you are, your mind's wandered. And all we're doing is acknowledging that and then gently returning our attention to the breath. It doesn't matter how many times the mind wanders. Mind wanders 1,000 times. Gently, patiently, compassionately return your attention to the breath 1,000 times. If the mind's persistent, or you find yourself wandering a lot, stay connected to the present moment through sound. Sound and the breath. And the body. Checking in with your posture. And noticing whatever it is you can smell and taste and hear, and the sensation of sitting. And in your very own time, gently return your attention to your surroundings. So there you go. Using the puppy analogy, you're working. Puppy wants to go for a walk. She knows she goes for a walk in the afternoon, let's say, and it's morning. She's trying to get your attention. Yap, yap, yap. That's the chatter of the mind. She'll jump up and you'll, oh, all right then, off you go for a walk with her. When you're training a puppy to walk at heel, it's very easy. All that happens is, as she pulls away, you turn around and walk the other way. Just pull her around in a circle, walking the other way, and then you keep walking round and round, so you turn away from wherever the lead is. So you're going round and round like that. And she's trying to pull away, and you go round and round and round and round. Just keep doing that. Keep coming back. She pulls away, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. A couple of weeks with a badly trained dog, maybe a week or so with a puppy who hasn't had a chance to get the idea that she runs ahead, and she's walking along next to you. And you apply that, if she wants to go off into the bushes, you turn around. And what it means is, for every mile you need to go, you end up walking about 5, because you're going round and round in circles. But what's actually happening is you're being able to guide bit by bit this attention, so that you then have, I don't like to use the word control, but an awful lot, because nobody actually controls a dog. There are scenarios where they're going to do their own thing, for every trainer and every dog. But you've got an immense amount of influence over her. And so that same sort of patience, getting her to sit at the curb and stop and come, and all of these really important things. But we need to invest the time in bringing our attention back, and best thing to deal with the yapping is to get comfortable with it, acknowledge the yapping without letting her use that as a way to get her own way. And it's the same thing with the mind. And that's what that process is. That's the thoughts are arising, mind's wandering, you're noticing, you're acknowledging it, you're coming back, repeat. Few years. I'm glad you found that useful, Dave. That's it for today. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great weekend. The Sunday evening mindfulness-based resilience course session is on, and I'll let you know about the gratitude sessions. I'm glad you enjoyed them, Dan. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Take care. And remember, just keep doing that.